This is a story about broken promises, and promises maybe you shouldn't make. That's how I'm going to fit into this theme a little bit. In 2007, I got to go on I guess it was a volunteer program down in Nicaragua. My good friend Thomas was building a school down in this little village called Kewasqa, Nicaragua. And it's in the autonomous zone of the northeast of Nicaragua, which is basically a bunch of rainforest that people have kind of cut farms into, and they're raising beans and things like that. And it's the area where the Contra War was fought back in the 80s. And so my friend Thomas, he wanted to build a school in the poorest community, in the place of the most need in Nicaragua, and this is the place he found. And so we go down there, we ride the 8-hour bus to get to Rio Blanco, and then we drive another half an hour to get to San Antonio, the town at the end of the road, and then it's you have to hop in a dugout canoe and paddle across this river to where the roads go no further. And so we took this 2-mile hike with our backpacks into this village, and met all these people there. There were 100 people living in Kewasqa, Nicaragua, and we immediately got out shovels and started digging a foundation for this new schoolhouse that we were going to build. It was going to have 3 classrooms, and we basically just got really involved with this community, and we were sleeping in hammocks underneath these palapa huts made of banana leaves. And every night we'd walk over to the neighboring farm and eat beans and rice with this family. And after we were there for a while, we started learning quite a bit about the local culture. And we would be sleeping at night underneath this palapa, and we'd hear these footsteps, and we'd see kind of these shadowy forms of people kind of running across the fields late at night. And it always looked like it was a boy and a girl. And we were wondering about it, and my friend Thomas explained to me that they have this tradition. It's not really a tradition, but it's just the cultural way that things happen there, is that young ladies, when they get to be about 14 or 15, it's time for them to get married. And instead of the regular courtship that you might think of, the man has to sneak out of the house late at night. He's usually about 22 or 23, and he'll sneak out of the house and go across the fields and find the girl that carries his fancy, and he'll kind of sneak her out of the house, and they'll run off into the fields and fall in love and do all those natural things. And so anyway, we're kind of learning there's some pretty intense things going on here late at night, and I was about 21, 22 years old at that time myself, and suddenly found myself to be kind of the object of affection of this young woman named Yorleni. And it was this kind of situation where I was digging with my shovel one day, and she came over from the schoolhouse to help out with moving the dirt and pushing the wheelbarrows, because there was hundreds of people involved in this project. And she just looked me straight at the eyes. She was like she'd chosen me. And I didn't, quite know what to make of this, and things kind of proceed kind of awkwardly. And Thomas, he says, Greg, you should never, ever fall in love with one of these people here. Even if you were to, take them back to the United States, it would never work out. And the cultural chasm is too far, and all of this sort of thing. And I can't believe 4 minutes is already gone. But so anyway, one night, Yorleni invites me and a whole bunch of people to this kind of concert at the Pentecostal church, and there's this guy on the microphone playing the guitar with lots of reverb, and he's preaching just back and forth across the stage. There's this kind of transcendent moment in the rainforest with this guy just shouting, running an electric generator and shouting on an amplifier. And I was just totally immersed in this experience, and on the way back to the Palapa where I was going to climb into my hammock by myself, Yorleni says, Greg, I was wondering if you could find some work for me in the United States. And I was caught up in the moment, and I said, sure, yeah, I'll go back to the United States and find some place for you to work. I didn't think that was too much commitment. And I came home and realized what I had promised, and it just was no way I could even think about who was I going to call to ask to bring a 15-year-old girl to come work in the United States undocumented. This is not my department. Well, anyway, I went back for another trip to finish up the school building project, and Yorleni is still there. And, did you find me any work? Did you find any work? And I said, no, I didn't. Sorry. And she was pretty disappointed. I knew I'd done something wrong, and I felt just, pretty rotten about it. But we got the school built, and I figured that was probably the big accomplishment. And there's now, 100 kids in Kewaskum, Nicaragua, with a schoolhouse. And a year later, I'm just going to keep telling, I don't care what time it is. So, a year later, I'm in Laramie, Wyoming in grad school, and I get this call on the phone. It's Yorleni. She's called me on my cell phone. I have no idea how she's able to do this. She probably, rode her horse to the river and paddled across in the dugout canoe and taken the bus to town where there's a phone 30 miles away and bought a phone card with, money that she'd saved from selling beans. She calls me up. Hey, you'd be growing beans too if you could live down in Kewaskum. And so she says to me, are you coming back to Nicaragua? Are you going to come back? I said, no. Why? And she says, oh, no reason. I just thought I'd call and ask. And so my friend Thomas goes back to Kewaskum a month later, and he said, and I asked him how it went when he came back, and and how's Yorleni? And he said, oh, her? Oh, she got married to the principal of the school. Guess it worked out for her.